Hey, let's get started.
All right.
Excited about tonight. You've got a really awesome group of people, companies here. Um, we're gonna here's kind of the schedule of events. We will um, briefly uh, BPSK and Pacific Coast Design Group will tell you about what they're doing. Um, for people who need it, I can tell you a little bit about plant. But we're going to really try to be brief in our remarks so that we can mostly answer your questions.
Right.
Um, uh, there are really two critical groups that anyone, whether you're doing rebuild or just new home construction, two critical groups that you will mostly work with to make that process happen. An architect who will do your design, who will get your permits, who will bid it out to a general contractor uh, to actually do the construction, who will work with consultants that you need to get your soils tested, survey done if you haven't, and your mechanical, electrical, structural engineering, etc. Your architect will coordinate all that. Um, Once you have your permits and what's called your construction documents, a general contractor will actually build your home, and you'll mostly work with them. Architect stays involved. They're inspecting the work pretty regularly, make sure it's in general conformance with the plans, but your focus will shift more to the general contractor because they're going to be managing the actual construction. So you have today an architect firm, BPSK, that is very involved in rebuild projects. They do incredible design. You're going to see examples of that. They're both great at design, but also very technical and really focused on solving your lifestyle living needs. Many firms, this is more my opinion, but focus a little bit more on form and maybe less so on function, and these guys do both. You're also going to hear from Pacific Coast Design Group, a general contractor started by Frank, who has been doing residential and commercial construction for decades. They've done a lot of work in Malibu, the Palisades. They've managed projects at all levels. They know how to do really high quality work. They also are very technical. And the three of us are working together on a number of rebuild projects. We, as a company, sell our components to the GC. So the projects we're doing, the rebuild projects, we're working with Roman on the design, making sure the plans are optimized for panelized and modular construction. And then we are working with Pacific Coast to make sure we've adequately, appropriately scoped who's doing what, factory versus field, and ultimately Pacific Coast is our customer. And we do that because we want one group, um, your general contractor, Pacific Coast, to manage your project. So you have one place to go for all the construction, whether it's happening at our factory an hour north of Los Angeles, or your site, Pasadena, Malibu, or Altadena. So I just wanted to clarify kind of the relationship here. I want to begin by uh, expressing from all of us our condolences for those of you who have lost homes. I should share that this weekend I went to the Palisades and I put out the first of our project boards. I put up 8 of them. Um, my mom grew up in the Palisades. She would have gone to Pali High, but it didn't exist, so she went to uni. Um, uh, I have known and loved the community my entire life. I every Saturday for decades ran Temescal Canyon. That was I'm a trail runner. That was my loop. So it's been very emotional for me to go back there. But I also felt, frankly, uh, a great sense of responsibility and even, frankly, delight as I was putting up our project boards because I know we're going to help people get back to their homes and their communities faster and more efficiently than a traditional site-based process. And we can talk more about the advantages later, but just wanted to share that. But it was something that happened this weekend. So you may see our project boards around. I'd love to quickly go around if you are comfortable sharing who you are and what you're here for. That would be super helpful for us. I'll just I've got everybody's name. I'll ask you. You don't have to share, but if you are willing to, that would be great. And everybody has been. You should be able to speak. So, Jean Ruda, do you want to share anything? Okay, if you decide to later, Antonio Malika.
Hi, sorry, I can't really see on the screen, but I'm just here to like find out what y'all are up to with this project. And I'm a real estate agent working with Frank and Sergio.
Awesome,
So I thought I should get myself educated here.
awesome.
Yep.
Um, Brian Pato, Charlotte. Can't see your last name, but AURO, and then it's dot dot dot. Oh, there it is. Rux, Uro, Dave Shapiro.
Yeah, hi Steve. We
Hi,
know each other briefly. We've never met, but I've been in the industry 5 years, ADUs and modulars, and most recently worked with a couple of companies that um, was able to attract a few customers. Like you said, it's been a harsh 9 months now, 10 months or so, but I have had a couple customers who lost their homes in Altadena. A college buddy of mine lost his house in the Palisades, and a couple in Malibu. So although I live in Northern California, I've made several trips to the region, and I remain passionately involved with companies that are helping to rebuild the area. So hoping to just continue yours and mine association as well as meet your colleagues.
awesome. Douglas Newman.
Yeah, hey guys. Steve, we had toured your facility earlier this summer, and then we're meeting with Roman this week. So it was just thought I'd
Awesome.
get a little more information
Oh,
to see how
great.
you guys sync up concurrently.
Oh, great.
Thanks. Yeah.
Nice to see you again. Gabriel Hernandez, Josh, Lindsay,
Josh has no mic.
uh, says here he can speak, but Lindsay Kraft, Raul,
Can talk.
yeah, I've given everybody the ability. You might have to unmute yourself, but
Bernadette
Robert,
can, yeah.
Robert,
Hi, Robert and Joan, my wife. We are already fully contracted with everybody here on the screen.
oh,
We're
awesome,
happy to say. Uh,
awesome,
we're very excited to be working with the group. We started with Roman at BSBK. He was the initial seed to all of this. Roman, I know, was researching plant even before the fire. So this, it just the timing was good, and he highly recommended this to us, this process. So we're excited. We toured the plant, which was very exciting. And we met with Sergio and Frank, and they're our contractors, which we're looking forward to. And we're close to submitting for permits. We had just one little delay having to do with the landscaping plan, which is not complete, having to do with irrigation, and then we'll be ready to submit. We're hoping the permits, from what I'm seeing, hopefully don't take more than 2 months. I'm hopeful. 1 to 2 months if things go super fast. And then we'll be ready for you, Steve.
Awesome.
So hopefully you'll be ready for us when we're ready for you.
Well, we installed 4 homes that we built in 2.5 months on Friday in El Segundo. We
Right.
thought we'd spend the whole day doing it, 8 hours, but it took 6. So,
Really?
we can work quickly, and that work
Yeah.
happened in parallel to the site work. Sergio was there.
Yep.
The developer thinks they'll be done in a couple months. So, and there'll be an open house. Everyone will be able to see them. So, yeah, this can move very quickly.
Did you say you just were doing something in the Palisades also this weekend?
I did not installing homes. I was installing job boards.
Job boards.
A much
Okay.
easier task. Yes.
Uh-huh.
But we do have our first 2 homes rebuild projects. They're not with Roman, with another architect, that start construction next month. So we're excited about that. Lindsay, I think you had. Oh, I saw your hand up. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
Are you talking about Lucien? No.
No, Lindsay Kraft.
Hi, I'm going to chime in. This is Bernadette. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yes.
Hi, yes. Thanks for putting this together. I know that we kind of touched base quite a while ago, and Lindsay and I both are kind of just in a holding pattern. So this is helpful. And you mentioned that you guys got something set up in Redondo. Is that what you just said?
El Segundo.
El Segundo. Okay. Anyhow, so since tomorrow's tour is not open, is that going to be is there an opportunity to look at those homes?
There's a tour at the factory tomorrow.
There is the group that we were organizing, we did not have enough to make it happen.
Oh,
But Lindsay, if you are welcome to go, or Bernadette, if the tour is still happening
yeah.
then you guys
Yeah,
are
we have
welcome
a
to go.
tour at 1. But email me. And I'll put my name, Steve at plantprefab.com.
Okay.
And by the way, I should mention, it was in the email. There is Sunday an open house 1 to 4 for project we designed in Venice. It's a townhome project. It's not rebuild, but it's also for sale. I can put information about that in the chat too. Anyone else would like to share what brings you here? See some numbers too. Okay, well, let's get started. Roman, you want to tell people about your firm and the
Sure.
work that you guys are doing?
All right. I will try to keep it brief. Thank you so much, Steve, for putting this together. I really appreciate to be able to get the word out. We are BSBK, Bespoke Design, and we are a small studio, design studio, and our specialty is high-end residential design. Our expertise really lies within, and what makes us unique is that we combine both architecture and interior design simultaneously. So something that most architecture firms don't, and you will have to get your own interior designer. we have been trying to be as innovative as possible, even though that between Chris, who is my business partner, and myself, we have close to 6 decades of experience between the two of us, trying to be always on the forefront of technology and innovation. And with that, our office is completely set up in Revit, which is a 3D program that we are using to draft all our projects. The importance on this is that that was actually one of the igniter of looking for better ways of building. And what does that mean? When we are within already a 3D model and we are working through all and many of the details that during construction we need to be aware of, it never then made sense, or we question, is this, so why are we putting this now on a piece of paper, handing it down to a contractor who hands them down to a subcontractor who hands it down to a laborer, and hoping that that person's interpretation of what they see is actually what we really meant. And our question was, is why, being already in digital format, why are we not carrying that all the way through as long as we can and eliminating as many variables as possible? And as Robert just mentioned, that was one of the reasons why we touched base with planned prefab even way before this catastrophe happening, because we knew that eventually the industry will be moving towards this, giving the overall technical innovations, robotics, and everything else. So we wanted to be on the forefront of that to build and design as many projects as we can using the offsite building method, which of course also meant this is a rethinking on our end of working hand in hand with both planned prefab and general contractors, really in much earlier stages than we would usually be to get all the information that is necessary to build within the drawings, within figuring out the modules, the mechanics, and so on, which was definitely um, uh, let's say, a change in habits, but also knowing that it will be an incredible relief once those buildings go into production, because where, like we said, we can eliminate so many variables of things that can go wrong otherwise. And so this is where then this relationship between Pacific Coast Design Group and Planned Prefab grew very, very quickly, because we all had that same mindset. And we are now working on 4 projects. One of them we will also highlight is a project that is specifically to give as a transparent as possible path of production as we're doing in Redondo Beach, to really show what does it mean when you build offsite, and how does it look like, how is the process going to look like, and then most importantly, how does the home look from the inside, from the outside, to touch and feel and get an opportunity to do that. So this is something that we're all doing simultaneously, because we know how important it is to take the general public and in from an educational standpoint of understanding of where are all the benefits of doing production this way. And then I'm sure either Steve or someone else can then reiterate of where all those benefits are. And I think that's going to be maybe a different webinar to go into the nitty gritty. It is really where, like Steve said, to highlight that it takes triangle relationship. It's the triangle relationship between architect, designer, the general contractor and plant prefab. And I think this is what this webinar today is all about, to highlight that relationship.
Very good.
Search.
Where's that coming from?
Russ, I guess Steve.
Sure.
Yeah, this is me. Can you show some of the work
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because there are people here that weren't here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Hopefully,
go?
Sergio, you guys too will show some of the work you've done in the past.
Okay. So this is actually the project that we specifically talk about that we're doing in Redondo Beach as a model home, where we are wanting to highlight the production method of using plant prefab. It is designed to fit within the street views, and so it has a little bit more of a traditional beachy feel to it, but still keeping very modern, clean lines. We're using all fire resistant materials, all Class A fire rated materials throughout the project. Even though for Redondo Beach that might be an overkill, but again, this is really meant to set the tone for the Palisades, Malibu, and Altadena fires. And this is one example. Even we we have already submitted the plans, but this is where we have the 3D model as a whole, and we could have a complete session to walk you through the spaces and everything. And that's kind of like, that's the same tools that we would be using when we would be working with you. It starts with a hand sketch, and then it ends up with a 3D model that we can twirl like this, where we can walk through it, and so on and so forth, so that you have a complete and full understanding what, first of all, how the house is going to look like, what you're going to get, and then we will talk with you hand in hand about all the functionalities, aesthetics, and anything that's needed. Do we want to just show some other of the project?
Yeah, show some of the other.
Yeah, okay. So Chris is actually handling that, so I'm going to be waiting. Okay, so that's another project that we will be doing, of course, with Plant Prefab and Pacific Coast Design Group. This one is in Malibu. The interesting part on this project was that there's an internal courtyard that we built literally around. That was the wish of the client, and have really the maximum of indoor and outdoor experience, getting as much light and so on into the house as possible. The house is kind of like divided into a semi-private and private wing. And it's still a relatively small house. I think it's like 2,400 square feet. And but it's very airy, nice, and it's a single story. That's a project within the Marquise Knoll area. It's a corner lot. Klein wanted to have a somewhat little mid-century feeling home because of the topography. It's a two-story home where the garage is on the bottom, and the backyard is opening up. So you're entering on the top. As you can see here, it has all the living quarters and the primary bedroom up above, and then garage, rec room, bedroom, laundry room, powder room, and so on downstairs. And again, those
And,
are all.
Britt Campbell said, I don't know which one she was talking about. She said, so few windows, question mark, and then she said ceiling height. But
So anything, so this is, and you can see that these projects look very different of each other. And I think what big reminder is, and this was one of the main reasons why we chose plant prefab, is we have no limitations of what we can and cannot do.
Right.
So most importantly, we will follow the aesthetics that our clients would like to put out. So you can, of course, judge those projects that we're showing you and say, well, I like or do not like something. But in reality, it is about the expression of our clients. And actually, we have the owner of this project with us today. And if you want, or anyone, I don't want to put Robert on the spot, but if someone wants to better understand how that relationship in terms of coming up with a custom design home, how that works, I mean, he maybe can put it into his own words. But in the end, we will listen to you of what you really need. We look at the context of the site, we're looking at the context of the aesthetics, and then we will come up with something that exactly fits that. And out of that comes an extremely unique product because everyone has different needs and every site is different. And so that's really where I think our strength is to be sensitive towards exactly that, and create projects that reflect the homeowners. And this was really also one of the things that really drove us into opening our doors to anyone as when it comes to the fire rebuild, who needed and wanted help, because we saw that more as a therapeutic exercise to create an environment that maybe homeowners who have lost their homes never even were able to imagine to be able to have. Now, we cannot replace, of course, any of the emotion and the memories that were left in the house. But what we can do is create the most conducive environment for those homeowners where they don't have to adapt into the space, but the space and the house was designed exactly for them. So those are the four projects that we are working with Plant Prefab. There is, of course, many more. If you're more interested in it, please go on our website. You can see our projects. Also, within the next 2 weeks or so, we will have a live part on our website where we show all our 10 fire rebuild projects that we're working on. So if anyone wants to dive closer or has any questions, you please email me directly.
Nice.
awesome. Thank you, Roman.
Sure.
Sergio, you want to talk about what you guys are doing?
Are you asking us to?
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. How you doing, everyone? My name is Frank DeMarco. I'm the founder and CEO of Pacific Coast Design Group. A little background about us and our involvement in the community. We've been in the industry for over 35 years. We've been based out of the Palisades for the last 20 years. I'm a member of the I'm on the board of the Palisades Pride. Also, I'm the outgoing president of the Rotary. We also do community projects, like we just installed the new clock tower in the center of the Palisades. We do the brick projects the brick paving in the business districts. We do all the benches and the medians throughout all the Palisades. So those are some of the community projects that we get involved in. Little bit about the type of work we do. Basically, we've been a high-end construction home builder since the 90s. It's been an area of expertise of mine. I've worked with many high-end architects throughout all of Southern California, like the Landry Group, Steve Giannetti, William Hefner. people of those sorts, and then now also bespoke architecture. And one of the things that after this fire happened, I mean, who I was close, it came to my doorstep as well. Um, I just could not imagine the daunting task of trying to rebuild everything the old-fashioned stick way. So, Roman had approached us, and we had this kind of landed in our laps. And funny enough, um, we were working on a home in Santa Monica. That was a prefab house built by Plant Prefab in sometime in the 2000s, and I saw the quality. I couldn't tell whether it was was a handmade custom home or built prefab. So one of the things we decided to do is take a deeper dive into this. And after these fires happened, I could not imagine building the amount of homes that burned. I mean, we just recently got an overhead view of what has burned in the Palisades, and even if we hired every contractor in Southern California, I just don't think it's just going to take years and years to complete. So we decided to go a different route, and this route is the logical way to do it, in my opinion. I think after going to the factory and seeing how the quality of these builds, I couldn't imagine there being any other way to build this quantity of homes in such a realistic or in a short period of time. Um, One of the things that I noticed the difference, when in the factory build, obviously is the amount of time savings that we've had, that we can get 3 months as opposed to like sometimes we heard today that a custom home could take up to 4 years from planning to the actual building permitting process. So, I'm going to have Sergio jump in and let you and do a comparison of what it's like to build on-site and off-site. Sergio, would you take over?
Sure, sure. Well, part of also I wanted to include the first project that Roman mentioned in Redondo Beach. It is our own development. Franks and I, we bought it, and we are putting our money where our mouth is. We want to make sure that we are fully believe in this process. And ever since, the same as everybody of the owners here, we went to the and toured the facility, and we were just floored by how an incredible job that they were doing over there. And so we decided to turn Redondo Beach, as Roman was saying, as a showpiece of what we can actually do. And part of it, and something that Roman was talking about, is they looked at our lot and they saw that it was a long lot. And after looking at it and studying that, that is what they came up with on how to be able to improve on what's currently there. It's a 1,600 square foot house right now, and we're turning into a 3,200 square foot house. And we're maximizing a roof deck where the living area where families are going to be hanging out on the second floor, overlooking the yard. I mean, all the creativity that went in behind the project is what I've seen them do for each individual house. They spend so much time with the owners. They spend so much time with us. And it's an incredible process to see. And we're very excited to move forward with Plant Prefab. And what we wanted to talk about, something to highlight for you guys to know, is that we did a little, I would say, comparison between conventional construction and offsite construction. And I'm just going to read them out really quick. A conventional construction is built entirely on site from start to finish, is dependent on weather, labor, site condition, and inspectors. Something that we have to be conscious about. We're actually feeling it right now. One of our projects, calling for inspections, is taking longer than usual. And I can't imagine what's going to happen next year when everybody's full on in the middle of the building. Longer build times, site prep and structure built sequentially. Costs can fluctuate, harder to lock budgets early, more material waste during construction, and more on-site activity, which means noise, dust, and traffic. Here are the benefits of building with plant prefab. Same materials, by the way, lumber, steel, insulation, finishes, built in a factory setting, factory controlled, consistent quality, fewer delays, faster timelines. Site work and building can happen in parallel. While the house is being produced in the factory, us, the general contractors, are working on site, grading, working the foundation, prepping the site. So when the house comes, we're ready to receive it. Up to 90% less waste, more sustainable, less disruptions for neighbors and safer job sites. State inspection happens at the factory at every phase. So just something to consider why we ourselves as developers also are going to this route. So we wanted to share that with you all. So if you guys have some questions and answers, we are happy to move on to that next phase.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm happy to talk about plan. I think maybe since you all came from our mailing list, most people are familiar, but if anybody has any questions about us specifically, I'm happy to go through that. I'm happy to show a video of our factory at work and take people through that, but someone would have to ask that specifically. I don't want to bore people if you don't want to see it or if you've already toured the facility. And I'm mindful of time, so we'll open it up to any questions that anyone has. I think everybody should be able to speak. I'm going to go check again. So yeah, just feel free to ask away.
Bernadette again. I don't want to, have other people, but of course I'd love to see what you have in terms of the tour video. But I know in speaking with Roman and kind of, what I'm gathering a little bit from Robert, there, aside from on-site and off-site, there's additional, or are there, I guess the question is, in terms of the process, because, once the plans are done, they're baked and there's no changes once it goes to the factory, correct?
Right. That's
Okay.
No. We do change orders. Unlike a traditional process, I don't remember the last time we did a change order that wasn't something requested by the customer. Frank and Sergio can kind of attest, Roman, how often that happens in a traditional process. You get change orders. That's one of the ways we're just far more predictable. But yes, we allow change orders. But we really work with you, and frankly, your architect, Roman, works very closely with you to try to work out all the decisions that you may need to make beforehand so we can just race to get this thing built.
Right. But I mean, are there any additional requirements that wouldn't be standard for a traditional build in the process?
Requirements.
Well,
I don't know, whatever, engineering, blah, blah,
That's all
blah.
front loaded. Everything is
yes.
front loaded.
So same, but just front loaded.
But
Correct.
but the engineering is different. I mean, it's still a structural engineer, but they have to, it has to be designed, detailed by the architect, and engineered in a way that reflects modules, if in fact we're doing modules. The facility that we have is the only in the US built to do both panels and modules.
Mm-hmm.
Modules are like big Lego pieces. They're one or more parts of a room. Panels are like a wall or floors or ceiling. We do both because it gives us greater flexibility with respect to design, respect to your site. Some sites are not accessible for modules. So if it is a project that has any number of modules, and some of our projects are all panels, some are all modules, many, particularly single family homes, are a mixture.
Okay.
It has to be designed and engineered for those modules. But other than that, there's no difference. Like
No, that's helpful.
any kind of special materials. It's
Yeah,
all
no.
and,
But that explains a lot for me. Thank you. Yeah.
Lucian,
then so they can be a hybrid. It's not one or the other, or maybe they are, or maybe they're not modules versus panels. But
Right. And
It
that's
depends
how
on the design, I suppose.
well, design, logistics. For
Mhm.
example, last week we had someone in Malibu on Big Rock, and she was concerned about a tight hairpin turn up a hill. Turns out we're
Right.
fine getting modules there, but things like that may preclude getting a big truck and crane to a site, in which case panels are your only option. But
Got it.
what your architect may want to do with design would dictate panels in a certain section.
Mhm.
For example, we have a project that's getting finished in Venice. It's a very high-end duplex, and it's comprised of 6 modules and 42 or 43 panels that really detail different decks and structural elements. And so we have that flexibility.
And what's the overall size of that project? Just out of curiosity, 6
4,000
modules and
square feet.
42.
Each is 2,000 square feet,
Uh-huh.
2
Cool.
units.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernadette, I just wanted to add, from the projects that we are working on so far, they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
They all not have the same amount of modules, and they don't have the same size modules, and they don't all have the same amount of panels. It's
Right.
because we're not designing for plant prefab. We're designing
Understood.
for you, and then we go to work and figure out what's the best way to build it.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. I was just
Sure,
trying to understand the process, like you were saying, front loaded. Um, so thank you. You answered my question.
sure.
Hi, this is Rahul. I just have a quick question. So I just want to understand how the process will work. So will it be that we first sign up with the PSK, go through the design process, and then uh, contract with Pacific Coast, and then they will sub to plant prefab. So how exactly will the whole process work? I mean, how to be able to work with you guys?
That is in fact right. I guess you would hire someone like Bespoke, and then Bespoke would hire someone like us, or you would hire someone like us, and then that would be your team. And then you'd be given a list of engineers and people that would be front loaded on the project, and that would all be go through Bespoke.
Okay, and is there going to be, is it going to go through a bidding process, the to
Well,
kind of, for the contractor, for example? I mean, how will that work?
So,
Or we just know that we're gonna, that Pacific Coast will be the GC.
I mean, maybe Steve wants to answer that question because Planned Prefab has the big chunk on that.
yeah.
Well, sorry, Ro, are you saying, do you have to work with Pacific Coast Design Group? Is that the question?
No, I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yeah, no.
Like
So
at some point, for example, it would be good to be able to have an estimate of the total cost end to end. So when is that going to happen?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the 2 different questions. You are free to work with any architect and any general contractor. I mean, kind of goes without saying. If you were to work with Bespoke, you could say, hey, we want you to bid this out to multiple general contractors. And in fact, you could say to them, we want you to bid this out to multiple prefabricators. But what you have here is a team that's working together on a number of projects. And, frankly, to your second question, I think you're therefore in a position to get better pricing and kind of a more efficient process because, by the time we get to you, we'll likely have already built a number of these homes already since we've got other projects, already underway. But let's talk about pricing and how you really know cost. The bummer about the process of building a new home, one that you work with an architect to design. So This is not a rebuild. I'm not sharing any rebuild specific. This applies to anybody that wants to hire an architect and build a new home for their lot. You don't actually know pricing until you've spent some time and energy with your architect and a number of consultants to get that project designed, engineered, and your spec done. What's the spec? What tiles do you want? Appliances, types of windows, finishes, fixtures. All that has to be detailed before someone like Pacific Coast Design Group, any general contractor, can give you a real price. Because without that, you're doing guesses and allowances. So sadly, and by the way, just skipping ahead, AI will not solve that, right? Because AI can't yet figure out all the choices you're going to make along the way. So, but what happens is when you're working with people like this team who've done a lot of projects, we all start very early on giving you estimates and assumptions because we understand the gig here. Everybody wants to has a budget and no one wants to exceed it. In fact, people would be delighted to spend less than it. Unfortunately, certainly doing a home a traditional way, oftentimes, kind of the common refrain is budget 20% more than any estimate you got from your GC because it's gonna cost more and and it'll take twice as long. That's a common refrain. That's why we talk about making this more predictable. Like we hit budget, we hit schedule. So early on, literally at a schematic level, we're giving you estimates. And all along, as the plan gets more done, we are giving you estimates. And Pacific Coast Design Group is a partner along the way. We're all trying to just give you better clarity on what this thing will cost. So that frankly, if you have to make decisions about changes in order to hit budget, you can do that before you're hit at the end with something that just isn't what you wanted to spend. And if Roman, Frank, Sergio, if you want to add anything to that, please do.
You want to go ahead, Roman?
It's right. I mean, and I understand, and for everyone who is, forced within a certain budget and feels the pressure, I cannot even envision what that really means. But this was, I think, one of the reasons that why this group found each other, because we all felt the responsibility to extend our expertise to make this process as transparent as we can. The other thing that comes with it, and where we were motivated to get into that kind of production method, is that we want to alleviate as much as possible fluctuations in the market that we were most concerned of when the catastrophe happened. We were thinking, it's like, oh my God, like Frank said, is if every contractor in Southern California would be building, it's probably still not enough people to get all the projects done simultaneously as they need to get done. And what that usually means in a free market, that means its cost goes up because labor becomes a scarcity. And for us, it was probably one of the biggest motivators, beside of wanting to get ahead of the curve from an innovation standpoint, is to allow people, at least when they get the numbers and when we gather all that information, and yes, it will take an effort and a time to get to that point, but then it will stick. There is no if, what, or buts. It is going to stick. And I think for us, of feeling the responsibility that clients are putting on our shoulders to keep them safe, was one of the most deciding factors of why we wanted to go into this relationship together.
Other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, hi. So just so I understand, so Roman is the architectural designer or architectural firm, right?
Mhm.
And then Frank, design group. What do you do, Frank, exactly?
We're a builder. We have some in-house designers. But most of the time we usually gather architects from outside sources, and Roman is an outside source. So he is.
So you're a general GC basically?
We're a GC company. Yes, we do general construction, build from the ground up.
And then Steve, you represent the factory
I run I'm the
owner.
CEO of Plant Prefab. Yes.
Okay, okay. And then
And
Sergio?
we sell components to general contractors.
I see. Okay. And Sergio?
I work along Frank. We're both GCs.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Are you like associates or two independent companies?
No. He's the head of operations, and I'm the CEO.
Okay, got it. Sorry, because maybe
That's
I missed
okay.
it. I was trying to.
We should have another team member on, Larry, who's a project manager. Some must be somewhere in there.
Okay, I think I saw your home that you did some years ago in Santa Monica. Very beautiful, architectural, lots of glass sliding doors.
Okay.
And I was very impressed. I wasn't ready to do anything yet. My one of my projects, I'm a homeowner, and I'd like to do an ADU in the BHPO area.
In where?
Beverly Hills
Okay,
Post
yes.
Office off Kennedy
know.
Canyon.
I know the area. Yep.
Are you a little bit familiar with the area? Is there any
Yeah.
issues getting the product out there? No?
No. We've done stuff in. I just recently finished something on Alexa's Place in what's that area called? The not post office, but Alexa's Place over on Lomita, where they had the.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so how do we get to costs? Because you, Sergio, were commenting on how much more efficient it is, et cetera. So by being more efficient and saving material and time, what does that look like as far as cost per square foot? And I know it's a very general question. I have more detail to the question, but I'm not sure what you guys supply as far as brands of kitchen, flooring, etc. I guess that affects the budget. What do you like your basic supplying the panels and your prefab boxes or that you call? Is that all pre-finished, or does that which part gets finished on the site?
Well, you asking a number of questions.
Let me, a lot of questions there.
Yeah, let me. The costs that we're seeing for our rebuild projects in Palisades, Malibu, Altadena range from well, the Palisades in Malibu, 550 to 650 a square foot. That's for your hard costs. I'm not including soft costs. So hard costs are all construction, our costs, site costs, some landscape. So I'm not including architecture fees and permits, although you won't have permit costs, consultants. We've had architects, and I think Roman confirmed last week, but Roman can that all in, including soft costs, the budgets that we're hearing 600 to 800 again, all in. Could we do less? Yeah, we've got an Altadena project that's probably more like 500 all in. And could we do more? Oh, yes. And we've done more. So it's just based on your spec. And I'm Frank, Sergio, Roman, and then I'll circle back. Let's stay on the cost, and then I'll circle back and talk about how complete the modules come.
I'll add to that is because it definitely is up to each particular client, and it goes back to rules. We because everything is front loaded, we have to do a lot of work prior to even starting the construction of the house. That means that you're going to sit with the architect and you are going to design to the last detail of the house. You got to pick the kitchen, you got to pick the floor, you got to pick the tile. All of that will equal a budget, but that's because that's what you wanted. Now, before you even go to purchasing anything, you'll know what the budget looks like at that time. That's when you can decide, well, I'm way over budget. That means they have to start backing down. And here's where we step in, Frank and I, to value engineer projects. We're working alongside with the architect. You guys are letting us, you have a certain amount of money for certain things. And when we start working on the design and we get to that end where we're looking at how much we actually spent so far, we have to then start negotiating, figuring out, pulling and tugging in certain areas to get to your desired results. But that is not going to happen. You're not going to start building and then guessing later on. You're going to know it all way up front before you even go to see Steve at the plant. And that's the beauty of this. As developers, for us, it's very important to know what we're getting ourselves into. And this gives us security. And that security, we want to be able to share to everyone who wants to go this route. Because as you know, learning from Frank with his decades of experience, knowing how a construction site, what happens, the change orders, as people get through the whole process, you know, they get excited about certain things and then they change certain things. And then that messes up the project and the budget. And there's not a lot of control. Here, we have control. We have
Well,
control.
yes and no, because at the end of the day, once you walk onto the job site and you see what it looks like, as opposed to even the 3D version, you might still have change orders that you want to modify a few things here and there, right? So it's never really finished until it's finished. So my
Right.
question originally was about, let's say, to be more specific, let's talk about the specific kitchen brand. Let's say I want a specific brand. How does that go with you? Like, do I specify it or do I go through my vendor and I can get
You can also
my pricing?
You can also
Yeah.
go to a vendor. I mean, if, all finishes, you can take it as far as you like, or you can take it as as do as little as you like. So, you can have all your cabinets, your fixtures, finishes, all installed on site. Even as
Right.
far as even stucco, like our home is going to have stucco. So it's not like it's going to be completely done. We put the roofs on site. We put the stucco on site. Also, some of the finish will be done on site. Flooring, windows will be chosen beforehand, whether you want Fleetwood or whether you want La Cantina, or whether you want Pella, whatever, any windows you want, those can be called out and it's sent to the factory. So you'd have a choice on all high-end finishes or low-end
Okay.
finishes.
Got it.
But,
Okay.
yeah, so
So let's say I use my vendor per se for the windows, let's say with a specific brand. Then do I go, are
those
the
windows are
windows
sent to the
installed?
factory.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, they're
So
sent and
do I
installed
deal
at the
directly
factory.
with the factory, and certain items like that could be dealt directly with the factory, or?
Well, no, you won't be dealing with the factory. You'll be dealing with we are your liaison through the factory. So whatever you want, us and the architect are your go-between.
Yeah.
But
Us
then
and
there's a cha-ching in between that
Yeah,
happens.
yes and no, but that's what you're paying for, and it's going to be considerably less. Listen, houses in the Palisades, to build one in the Palisades now, you're looking between 800 and 1,000 a foot all day long. So you can pay that on site and have it built on site under kind of uncertain conditions from day to day, or you can go this route where you could have everything. That's why we've decided to really, like Sergio said, put our money where our mouth is. I thought it was brilliant being a 35-year veteran in this industry and seeing this level of craftsmanship. There's nothing matchable. So I said, you know what? Let's do one ourselves. We've given complete carte blanche to our architect. Say, put what you think should go there on site, and we'll agree to it. I mean, we let them do whatever they thought was best for that for the space, and we'll see how far we take it. And we want to exercise every angle of this project so that we can answer these questions more with more certainty for you. But so far, I do know 100% we can take it as far as you want or do it as little as you want. And all the finishes there, the high-end finished tile and stone or Whatever you need, it can be all called out prior to
So
your
let's say, for
on site.
example, the slab, the countertops, and all that. I mean, I've built homes in the past. I've had, experiences. I've owned several properties.
Mhm.
I don't see how that gets installed in the factory and then moved around. I would think my, contractor that I hired to do my kitchen and my slabs would come and install it on the site. Any thoughts on that? Have you done it
I,
differently before? Or
I just saw the modules being installed the other day with complete kitchens installed. So I can't imagine that, if it's a module setting and the kitchen's going to be put together, I clearly have seen those slabs. I saw them put in. I mean, so yeah, that's
what
definitely, in my
what
opinion.
type of
Yeah,
home? What
come
size
to the
home?
factory. Come to the factory, Lucian. You'll see us doing it.
Yeah.
We do it every
Okay.
day.
I guess that'd be, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I'm talking about, like pretty large islands with a lot of, bars and large
do it
full
all the time.
slabs and HVAC, going under and
All done at the
Oh,
factory.
amazing.
already.
We just witnessed it on site. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, very clean. If you would have seen these sites, this site in El Segundo was spotless. I was, it was very, I have OCD, so my sites have to be spotless as well. And I saw that. I was very, very impressed with how clean it was. I mean, there was not any way that people can get hurt or, everything was done to the highest level as if it was a high-end custom home. And believe me, I built homes in Holmby Hills. I built them in Bel Air. I built them on Carbon Beach. I mean, we've spent in the 90s, people were spending $1,500 a foot to build houses. That's the level of homes that I've seen. And this
I guess
is, I mean,
in
there's not
LA,
much difference
sky's
here.
the limit, right? Sky's the limit. Like you can
Yeah,
just,
it's really. I mean, you're never the drywall is the same drywall, the same 2x4 framing underneath. I can't see anything that would like. I'm looking at my house and I'm thinking, I wish I could have done that here. I spent a year remodeling my home,
yeah.
and now I'm the builder, so.
So as a builder, what's the current cost plus, like average cost plus that you charge?
The cost of per square foot or just the
Well,
percentage rate?
like percentage.
It's right around between 15 and 20, depending on, about 15 to 20%.
So
Right around
that's
there, with all
industry
the
standard.
costs in, including
Does that include project management and all those fees
project
that
management.
are
If you have a special, so we have a working superintendent on site, so that's a little bit separately. No, that does not include project management. Yeah.
okay?
Most home
So
builders are probably there's a small, and that we don't upcharge on that. That's usually whatever the cost of that particular person is on site.
okay.
So.
And from, let's say, from permit to key in hand, what are the
Well, we just
deadlines
finished
or
one project, all in, and that was on Casali Road, and that was about 1,000 a foot. So
okay?
and
And
that
time
house.
wise,
Oh,
lead time,
You meant timelines.
10 months.
timeline?
Okay.
That particular,
Yeah.
because we had a long escrow. There was a 6-month escrow, is what he said, and from start to finish was about 2 years, and it's about
Okay.
11,000 square foot house.
So
Yeah,
you've
2 years.
projects in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, in the
I've done
hills,
on
right?
Carrollwood Drive, on Holmby Hills, yes, many years ago, but yeah, over the
So
years, yes, we've
now,
done it.
like, let's talk about the foundation.
Hey, sorry, Lucian, can I, it sounds like you have a bunch of technical questions. Can I suggest maybe we schedule a separate call?
Yeah.
Just in the interest
Yeah.
of time, let me see if anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. You can have our emails on the bottom, and you can schedule. We'll get schedule a Zoom ourselves, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To get more into detail, because
Sure,
I
of
also
course.
have another property that I'm considering building on. It's a pretty large lot in Bel Air, so
Okay.
um, I'd be interested to getting some
Lucian,
numbers.
Sure.
highly
Absolutely. Please,
recommend you.
Sergio, can you give him our information, and you can reach
Yeah,
out to.
it's in the chat.
Oh, good,
put my
wonderful.
emails in the chat.
How do I get your info there, by the way?
Go to the chat. Do you
Chat?
know how to click on the chat?
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
That was my last question, but that's okay. I will go more into detail and set up an appointment
Yeah,
on the
perfect. Of
phone.
course, we'd be happy to help.
And highly
Okay, sounds
recommend you
good.
come see us at the factory. It's
Yes.
a
Yeah,
little
for
bit
sure. Yeah.
it's like an hour north of LA. It's just right off the 5, and you'll see how we do this. And to answer your question earlier, I mean, we're coming 90% complete, all finished plumbing and electrical, drywall, paint, flooring, millwork.
My lender will be very happy to hear that.
Appliances installed, tiles grouted, um, weatherproofing. We can do siding, although oftentimes it's done on site for various reasons, but we can do it. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, just come see us.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'll
Um,
reach out for sure.
any other last questions? I know we're a little bit over, but
Steve, this is Robert.
yeah.
Thinking I could address, Bernadette had a couple of more questions she put in the chat about saying so few windows and the ceiling height. And Roman, is it easy for you to put up that image you had of the back of our house by chance? Is that a quick thing? Because this might be helpful if otherwise I could just.
Wasn't yours, Robert? It was,
No,
I
no,
think, the
but
first one
that
that
was
went
my
up.
my
I was like,
point
wow,
is
I'm not
the
seeing
point,
any windows in that first
right.
one.
Point is
But
it's based on the
Redondo.
design of the lot.
yeah,
Our lot, we want to have a lot of windows in the.
yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't yours.
It's probably
Redondo.
lot specific.
But
The
but
lots.
But
I'll
I was just
respond to that.
curious about that one single story that with the courtyard. I thought that was an interesting concept. I was curious about the height of the ceilings because some folks are going, just single story and like 12-foot
So
ceilings.
to answer that question, there's many ways to go around about the ceiling. If we want to stay modular, there is a certain limit that we have to obey by. And not saying that we could not build, with panels and in other ways, but building modular is by far the most cost and time efficient way of going about it. So what we are doing is that we are giving our homeowners the option is all right, uh, if you want that 17-foot ceiling, then no problem, or the 20-foot ceiling, we just need to understand it's not going to be a module. It's going to be panel ready. If you said, you know what, it's the most important thing, I'm fine with a 14-foot ceiling and so on. And we know, anyways, in Los Angeles, any ceiling heights that are greater than 14 feet count 1.5 times to the RFA. So most homeowners shy away from that because of obvious reasons. Then we can easily do that within the modular system that Plant Prefab has.
Thank you, Roman.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question associated with you've done a good job of explaining custom options and the process with Roman. Do you offer any turnkey designs, particularly when it comes to like an ADU?
We do. So let me share our website. Uh, so I'm just at plantprefab.com. If you click under living homes, you'll see here's one, the living homes 10. It's like 500 square feet. That's something we designed. There's one here from a company called Lighthouse. It varies in sizes. One from Doug Burge also varies in sizes, 400 to 1,200 square feet. And then one from Eve Bahar, where's that here? So yeah, we've got some standard ADU plans.
Okay, appreciate that, and not trying to necessarily cut Roman out of the picture, but I guess my question is, if we went with one of the designs that you have, do we end up then working with that designer for any reason, or we can take it as is, and you can, uh, you know, cut out?
You work with us directly.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
On those basic, the pre-drawn, pre-approved design that Mr. Pedro just mentioned, what are we looking at per square foot finished, more or less, for an EDU?
I'm embarrassed. I don't remember the exact range, so I have to go back. But I think in general it's like 275 to 400 a square foot, depending upon the size and the model. But then double that to figure out what your total hard costs are. That's a good rule of thumb. So if you're 275 with us, you're 550 a square foot. ADUs in general have a higher square footage, right? Because they've got kitchens.
You don't have the economy of scale.
Well, it's not that. It's that you have kitchens and baths are your most expensive part of a house. When you have a bigger house, you may have more bathrooms, but in general, not more kitchens. So small ADU still has a kitchen and bath. So
it's amortized over more square footage versus like certain rooms are larger and less expensive to build. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, I want to thank everybody. Roman, Frank, Sergio, thank you. Honored to work with you guys. Robert, look forward to getting your home in production. Others here, I hope you choose to move forward with ideally all of us, but at least some combination of us. And all of our contact info is in the chats.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you at a tour soon. And I put information about the open house this Sunday too. Have a
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.